And here's a quote for you. An executive mindset does not ignore today's responsibilities. It simply refuses to allow today's urgency to overshadow tomorrow's vision. That quote right there captures one of the greatest differences between women who simply stay busy and the women who build extraordinary careers, extraordinary businesses, and extraordinary lives. Most people spend every day reacting, but executives or people with executive mindset spend every day designing. Those are two completely different approaches to success. If you constantly live in a reaction mode, you will always feel productive, but you will rarely make meaningful progress. So in today's video, I want to share 3 executive principles that have transformed how high-performing leaders make decisions, allocate their times, and build sustainable success. And also, the takeaway from each point. Okay, so let's get into it. Principle number 1. Executive thinking is long-term thinking. One of the biggest mistakes I've noticed most ambitious women make is confusing activity with strategic progress. So every email is answered, every meeting is attended, every task is completed, and this makes them feel productive. But productivity is not the same as progress. An executive asks a completely different question. So instead of asking, what needs my attention today? She asks, what decision today moves me forward towards my future? Or which decision today moves me closer to my future? That subtle shift there changes everything. Great executive understands something many professionals never learn. And that is that your calendar reveals your priorities, but your strategic decisions reveal your future. And if every hour is spent solving today's problems, who is creating tomorrow's opportunities, or how are tomorrow's opportunities being created then? All right. So the takeaway from the first principle is strategic leaders don't measure success by how much they accomplish today. They measure success by how much today's actions compound into tomorrow's opportunities. And that is why executives deliberately create thinking time, planning time, reflection time, and vision time. Those activities may not feel urgent in the moment, but they are what separates leadership from management. I promise you that. Principle number 2. Urgency is a poor decision maker. We often assume that because something is urgent, it must be important. Well, that's simply not true. Well, not always anyway. Many urgent matters are merely interruptions. An executive mindset develops the discipline to distinguish between what demands my attention and what deserves my attention. There is a significant difference. And without that discipline, your priorities become dictated by everyone else's expectations. And instead of leading your life, your diary begins to lead you. Imagine having or receiving 60 emails, 5 phone calls, 3 meeting requests, several client issues, and all these before lunchtime. Most people will react to every single one, but an executive mindset would pause first and ask, which of these genuinely advance my strategic objectives? That pause right there is leadership. So the takeaway from principle number 2 is this. The ability to delay reaction in order to make better decisions is one of the defining characteristics of executive leadership. Because leadership is rarely demonstrated by moving faster. It is demonstrated by thinking better. And finally, principle number 3, protect the future before it becomes urgent. This, perhaps, is the greatest lesson I've learned throughout my own career, because the future rarely arrives unexpectedly. It gives us warning signs. Businesses don't suddenly decline. Leadership doesn't suddenly fail. Confidence doesn't suddenly disappear. And misalignment accumulates quietly over time, which means your future is being shaped by the decisions that feel insignificant today. And that's why strategic women intentionally protect time for vision refinement, personal development, relationship building, learning, and innovation. Because these are investments, they are not interruptions. So the key takeaway from principle number 3 is this: executive leadership is less about managing the present and more about intentionally designing the future before circumstances force the change upon you. The women who consistently reach the next level are rarely the busiest. They are the most intentional. They understand that today's preparation becomes tomorrow's competitive advantage. So before I leave you in this video, I want to leave you with this one question. I want you to reflect back over the past 7 days and consider how much of your time was spent maintaining current life and how much of your time was invested in creating your future, because there is a difference. The executive mindset doesn't ask, how do I fit more into my day? It asks, what deserves a place in my future? And remember, an executive mindset doesn't ignore today's responsibilities. It simply refuses to let today's urgency overshadow tomorrow's vision. And the women who build extraordinary businesses, extraordinary careers, and influence aren't simply better or working harder. They are better at thinking further. So we've come to the end of this video, and thank you for your company today. If this video has challenged your thinking, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to know, what is the one strategic decision you can make this week that will make your future self thank you for it? And if you're ready to stop reacting to life and start intentionally designing it, subscribe to my channel and join the conversation in the Women's Power Room, our community page where every week we explore practical strategies to help ambitious women lead with greater clarity, confidence, and purpose. And I look forward to doing life with you.